Hey guys, time for the Friday edition of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. Here we are, the 19th of July already. Not sure how that happened, but here we are. So, as you can tell, today I applied all the undercoating to the 69 cowl look. Pretty happy with how it's coming out. Pain in the butt, but you know, this process, anytime I do this to a car, I'm always kind of like dreading it and kind of miserable while I'm doing it. But then once I peel off the masking tape, I'm happy like a little kid with a new toy or something, because I love how much this looks, or I love so much how this looks. Let me try that again. Anyway, I didn't do the front end pieces, the suspension and so on, because that's all going to come out. So I concentrated on the firewall, the pan head, and all up underneath areas here of the body. I got underneath of here from, you know, the underside there, and I got the whole underside of the pan. And let's walk around back here. So there you go, back is all done. And I went ahead, and I was kind of debating this, and I decided to just go ahead and do everything. I don't know if you can really see, but yeah, it's all nice up in there now. I couldn't just not do that. And you know, honestly, by the time I did the masking that needed to be done, the additional masking to do up under there really wasn't that much more in the grand scheme of things. So that's all done up underneath there. Likewise, not sure if you can really see this, but yeah, all up underneath here, it's all done. So it was worth it. I'm glad I did it. And like I said, in the grand scheme of masking off the whole car, doing the additional masking to really get up underneath there and under here, it wasn't really that much. So I think it was a good decision. Anyway, so yeah, that's pretty much it. So when I finished that, which was kind of later in the day because I had some other errands to run and so on, but after I finished that, basically what I did is one of the next things we usually do on a painted car, and that is to go ahead before we forget and run a tap through all of the fender bolt holes and the bumper bolt holes. So I went ahead and did that. So that's out of the way now. Actually, the running board holes too, went ahead and ran a tap through those. So I have on order a new set of fender bolts for the car. And as you guys know, at least those of you that watch, I had already done the fenders all yesterday, ordered some new fender beading, and so I will probably go ahead and put the fenders on this on Monday. So that's kind of exciting. It's really gonna start looking like something here. And then one of the next things I'll do too is go ahead and pull the wiring harness. These cars are kind of easy in some ways, because the wiring harness, it really only runs, or at least the main harness, it runs from there to inside the body. You can see it kind of comes out right there. So unlike earlier Beetles where a lot of it ran up through the you know, header up there, it mostly is kind of exposed on the floor along here. You can see it running right along the bottom of the heater channel. So these are actually kind of easy. There's only a very small space that you're actually pulling it through the body. So I'll do that with the existing wiring harness, which we kind of cut short but left enough of there to tape the new one on. Pull that through. And then up front, likewise, it pretty much just runs up the body on the inside there and then comes out through a big fat grommet right here. So at least running the wires on these is a little bit easier than an earlier car where it's going up over the roof. But then that's where it stops being easier, because again, as I always say, these things have like, I swear it's like 5 times the wires of an early car. So just a lot of stuff to connect, which to me probably isn't necessary. I know I'm always going on about how they made these cars unnecessarily complicated, but yeah, wiring is one of those places where you really feel that when you're putting one of these cars together versus an early one. So that's it for this guy. Moving right along. Still waiting for the owner to decide on wheels, which will in turn dictate the suspension, whether or not we need a narrowed beam or not, and drop spindles, disc brakes, what lug pattern, all that good stuff. So soon as he decides that, then we can start purchasing parts as needed and really getting this thing going here. So other than that, Jacob mostly cleaned some parts today for the 36 horsepower motor that he's putting together. I don't really have any show and tell handy for that, but he's going through all the engine hardware, and he pulled apart the rocker assemblies and got them good and clean, and cleaned out the push rods and stuff like that. So we also placed an order for some parts for that motor, which should be here Monday, so it can really start going together. The thumbnail of this video was showing this stub axle, which is for the 68 bus. And so I got the axle housings back, so you can see one of them there from powder coating. They look awesome. My guys at Americoat here in Orange always do a good job. But anyway, so I was ready to go ahead and start assembling the axles, and got new bearings for them, new seals, all that good stuff. And I decided to test fit the axles to the bearings, and it's a good thing I did because they weren't even close to fitting. And when I say not even close, I mean they were off by about 0.04 of an inch. But in terms of something that's supposed to have a very precise fit, that might as well be a mile. So I pretty much had to take the axle onto our little belt sander and carefully rotate it while sanding. So the bearing surfaces are here and here. Pretty much just a little bit at a time, test fit, a little bit at a time, test fit. I probably spent nearly an hour on this axle getting the bearings to fit, which is ridiculous because these are all new parts. I think the issue is probably the axle. These are very high quality bearings, so I'm pretty sure that the ID of this bearing is not off. I think the axle is actually a bit on the fat side. So anyway, both bearings fit this axle now. I will repeat the same thing, I'm sure, on the other axle on Monday, and then I can put these axle carrier assemblies together and get those on the car. And then that is gonna tell me wheel clearance and so on, whether or not I have to have the drums machined a little bit and so on. So yeah, waiting on those axle housings was kind of holding me up, but now that I got those, I can kind of get some assembly going on the back of this bus and make some decisions, and probably buy some more parts as needed and send some more parts for powder coating. But so yeah, get back on that on Monday. Anyway, that is it for today, guys. Thanks for watching as always, and we'll see you guys again soon.